Hey, Mike, you got an update on the financial situation of the museum and what's going on with that?
Yes, I have a lot to say about that because, I recently did my taxes and what have you, and was talking with my accountant and taking a look at the situation with the museum. You see, I've got all my finances are now tied up in this museum. I once had a house that I used to back this museum up so that I could do this museum, and that's gone. That's been gone for a couple of years. So this place has been funded by money out of my pocket. My equity funded the first 5 years of the museum, and then since then we've just been barely hanging on by a shoestring. But I haven't given it up because I'm dedicated to the process. I'm absolutely sure now that we have Bigfoot here in Santa Cruz, and we've had 6 years now to go out and test this. Now, some people out there are saying that, well, Mike Rugg and his group are just a museum. They're not a research group. This has been said. But this is really not true. We have been doing a lot of research here because as soon as we opened our doors, locals came in and started telling us they've got them in the backyard. Now, we've gone out and tested that, and we have quite a bit of physical evidence to back that up. I mean, we have some scat that was collected. We have a tooth that I've talked about in the past. And we have several audio recordings. We have video. I talked earlier about the Native Americans. We found out that the natives actually named a Bigfoot that lived here in Felton. I mean, I think we've done a hell of a job in pulling together a lot of evidence for a Bigfoot presence in Santa Cruz County that dates back at least 300 years. Now, I welcome anybody who wants to come and refute this and prove that our stuff is all wrong, it's all faulty, it's all pseudoscience or whatever the negativists want to call it. That would be great. Hopefully that would happen in a big way so that maybe we could garner some sponsorship or funding as a result. So if anybody wants to come here and help us prove the Bigfooter here in Santa Cruz or refute it, either way, if that involves some funding, I'm up for it because we desperately need to raise some capital to support this museum, or, well, we're just not going to, I can't do it for more than about a year because I have a note on the property, and in a year or so that's going to come due. And the way things have been going, I'm not going to be able to pay that note, so I'm going to lose this property too. And that means the museum here will disappear. There will no longer be a Bigfoot museum here in Felton. Some people probably say, well, big deal, no skin off my nose. Well, I'd like to say that in the 7 years that we've been here, I have literally spoken to hundreds, well, let's say at least tens of thousands of people, if not hundreds, who have come through the museum. We get 5,000-6,000 people a year times 7. Yeah, let's say at least tens of thousands of people who have come in here who have learned a lot about Bigfoot that they never saw or heard of off the regular media or other methods. And a lot of these people have had their heads turned around. And we have been doing that now for 7 years. And also what we have here is we have a brick and mortar site, which to me at least represents, it sure does to me, a larger investment in the reality of this thing being here. I think when a person like myself is willing to take all they have and throw that money into Bigfoot research, that should be some kind of a sign of at least, a genuine desire to do something with this mystery in the way of trying to solve it. And that's what I've been doing now. Well, I've been into it for 50, 60 years, but the last 6 years, that's all I've been doing. And we have had success, like I said, in pulling out the fact that there is a Bigfoot presence here in Santa Cruz, and in Santa Cruz we have a subset of the entire phenomenon. But as of this day, because of our the poor showing at the fundraiser we had at the beginning of the summer, and just the way the economy is, we're still having a tough time making ends meet here. And so Ralph and I, who are the two most dedicated, we're both here full-time, dedicated to this research. In the past 6 to 8 months, we've been able to do very little Bigfoot work because we have been busy going on eBay and trying to peddle things. It's like having an everyday garage sale. and doing other things to try and make ends meet so we can keep this thing together and continue to meet people on a daily basis and continue to take in new reports on a daily basis, which we do, and come closer and closer to solving this. We believe that we have a presence here that can be habituated. We believe this is the next step, but we cannot do it without additional funding. Now, there are other Bigfoot groups out there, like ourselves, made up of people who have dedicated some time, at least, if not money, time anyway, to go out and try and prove there's a Bigfoot out there. And some of these groups have managed to get some backing. One group, the BFRO, they got a TV show. That's a pretty deep pocket to back up your research. Well, we have a map here. Every one of our little pins would be an episode on finding Bigfoot, for example. That's what we've been doing here for 6 years, just what they do on that TV show. Investigate reports that are brought to us by living humans who say they've had an experience. So, if we had funding on the order that they have, and on the order that some of the other Bigfoot groups have, what we would be doing here in Santa Cruz is going on to private land where we've gotten permission from people, and that's what we've been working at over the last 6 years, is to find people in the area who are willing to let us set up a base camp and do some habituation. Because we have people now in areas where the Bigfoot have been seen in the past, and some areas are very prime because the Bigfoot have been seen there more than once in ensuing years. So we know there is a pathway and a kind of a tour that goes through our area where these things are seen year after year after year. And we have a handle on all that information because we have a database now that we've developed in 6 years. We just don't have the funding to do anything. We don't even have the money to go out and buy enough gas to drive to the nearest spot, and be able to drive through there at night and do the kinds of things we typically do to attempt to locate these things. We could certainly use a FLIR imager. Every other group out there with funding has a thermal imager at their disposal. We do not, except when Bart Catino comes up here from Monterey and goes out with us. He has a thermal that he got from Wally Hersom, for example. But we don't even have that equipment. We have a couple of cameras that Wally gave us to take, still cameras to try and capture a Bigfoot, but I think they're too smart for that. So far, we have nothing to show for that, and most people have very little to show for that. But we do have stuff. We have evidence. We have made progress here, and so this is a plea. If there's anybody out there, or if any of you who are watching this know people out there who have a little bit of cash they can spare, who are interested in this subject, who are interested in solving some of these mysteries of science, that's what we're all about here. We want this to be a center to study the mysteries of science, the things that other people don't study and that people claim are happening to them. And we're concentrating on Bigfoot. Once we prove Bigfoot's real, we may move on to another mystery and keep going from there. But we're also serving an important part of the community here because we're teaching children through their interest in cryptozoology. We're teaching them about, animal diversity and the importance of that, and how we need to show respect to the other animals on the planet, and they're learning so many other lessons when they come here and talk to us about Bigfoot. So we think that we have a place in the community, and that we have curricula, and this is already, I've typed up a whole proposal of the things that we'd like to do here with an actual foundation of some sort for the study of these kinds of mysteries. Most specifically with the Sasquatch being the beginning. So please, if any of you can help in any way, we need the help now as never before. Because otherwise, a year from now, this is going to be all gone because I'm not going to be able to take it beyond that.